You ever catch yourself performing? Not for an audience, but for an imaginary one in your head? You hold your posture, you say the right thing, you train harder than necessary. You push through even when your body is screaming to stop. Not because it's the smart move, but because you think someone's watching, even when they're not.
Steel and shadow, fists fly high, breaking through limits, I reach for the sky. Martial instincts power my stride. Fight principles guiding my fight.
Welcome to Fight Principles. As you know, I'm Sasha, and this episode is about a fight most of us are losing without even realizing it. It's the fight between who we really are and who we think we need to beat. So today is about ego, about image, about quiet overcompensation, the push to always look ready, strong, stoic, capable, you name it, even when you're cracked on the inside. And I'm going to try to break it down into 5 fight principles because, hey, that's how I call the podcast. And it's not to shame that part of us, but to understand it and to disarm it and maybe grow past it. So let's jump into the first scene. Imagine, if you will, the shadow training partner, okay? I don't even know when. I must say a few years ago. Yeah, definitely more than one day. So it must have been a few years ago. I was doing like a solo pad session, right? In the gym. Nobody's around. I was tired, heavy week, mind fried from all the stuff at work, personal stuff, and so on. But still, I found myself moving what felt to be like, I move sharper, I punch harder. Why? I even thought about not going to the gym. And then once I was there, I was all fired up. Why? Because I imagine someone's watching. Not for critique, just for, I hate to admit it, attention. Not even real attention. Just the idea of someone judging how serious I am. That's the shadow training partner, okay? That's the imaginary critic. And we all have one. Yeah, that voice that says, don't ease up, don't look soft, don't rest. It's not pushing you to improve, it's pushing you to perform. And there's a big difference between those two. So one of those, by the way, I'm pushing right now because, as you can hear from my voice, probably I'm struggling with a cough, being sick-ish, having a cold. I hope it's just a cold, but I still want to get this episode out. No sympathy, just saying like we all struggle, even though sometimes we should probably be smarter, right? So here those 5 principles that I thought could help to fight our own image, our own shadow, so to speak, our own shadow training partner, right? And let me know what you think, and if you go along with that. So the first one I would suggest is that, you know, when we are in those situations, the ego trains for applause, right? That, hey, someone should say, hey man, you're going really hard today. That's awesome. Oh my God, you're not stopping. That's so cool. Warriors, on the other hand, that most of us want to be, at least in the mind, they train for purpose. Yeah, in a fight, if you've ever been in a fight or if you've been in sparring, you know that flashy moves don't win wars. I mean, there's the outlier, of course, but usually fundamentals do, right? So when we take this to actual life, you stop trying to always look busy. I have to look busy. I have to keep doing stuff. I have to keep doing stuff. No, be effective, not performative. Ask yourself, like, who are you training for? Yourself or their Instagram? I'm hesitating a second because when I thought about this, I had to admit that, I mean, they all apply to me, of course, otherwise I wouldn't have thought about it, but I do this a lot. I'm always like working. And someone asks me, hey man, what you up to? I'm like, I'm working, no matter the time, basically. It's so stupid, right? So stop trying to look busy. Be effective, not performative. Train and push yourself for yourself, not anybody else's judgment, anybody else's Instagram, all right? Okay. Principle number 2. Now, control comes from acceptance, not force. What do I mean by that? Well, again, let me take the sparring example or the pad work example. If you've ever done boxing, Muay Thai, whatever that might be, right? And if you're like doing other martial arts, you also know that. If you're tight, you gas out quicker. So in boxing or Muay Thai, the tight shoulders make you gas out so much quicker. That's why if you ever train Muay Thai, your Thai coach will say like, sabai sabai, be chill, hey, right? Because if you're tight, you gas out quicker. Looseness is control. So in life, holding an image too tightly, right? I am that person. I have to be that specific person. It's going to break you faster. Your identity shouldn't be a straitjacket, right? Your identity can change. You can change who you are. You can change what you think. You're getting new evidence. You're developing as a human being. Apologies for the cough. I hope AI takes it out. So you're evolving. So of course, your image, your persona also changes, right? It just makes sense. Principle number 3 that I thought fits in here quite well is silence is the audience that you invented. In a fight, let's be honest, no one cares how you breathe between rounds, just that you're still standing. And of course it matters how you breathe and how you react and all those things, but I'm saying no one looking at you cares. Just that you're still there. In life, right, this imaginary critic in your head, you made them up. This critic or those critics, they're not there. You're not a live stream. People aren't watching you 24/7. They're not judging you all the time. And that's good. And don't perform for that silent audience. The silent audience. We've all been there. If you're still listening to this, I know you've been there. Ignore them. Live for yourself. Principle number 4. And I think that's one that hit hard again for me personally. Recognition is a trap and growth is a path. What do I mean by this? In a fight, right, titles don't matter if you lose yourself getting there. You're just doing it just for recognition. Hey, I want them to say that I'm great. I want them to say that I look good at the last fight. I want them to say this about me. So take this to real life, right? Doing it for the flex is short term. Doing it for alignment, for growth, that's when it's become sustainable. Ask yourself, what feels good after the applause dies? Final principle, vulnerability doesn't mean weakness. I call it strategic honesty. You're in a fight, showing pain doesn't make you less of a fighter, right? In life, admitting I'm not okay is one of the strongest things that someone can do. The real warriors check their blind spots. They don't avoid it, they don't ignore it. So check in with your blind spots. The last part I want to talk about is that invisible fight that we're all fighting, right? There's a fight we all enter before stepping on the ring, before going out into life. It's the one where we ask, can I just be without proving that I belong? Yes, that internal war that I believe most of us know quite well. this wanting to be seen for who we are without being exposed. That creating connection, but hiding behind that mask of, nah, I got this, I'm okay, don't worry. So I'm in no position to tell you what to do, of course, but I hope this quick episode just, encourages or shows you that you're not alone with that, and that dropping the act is totally fine, that you train for yourself, that you heal for yourself, that you evolve, because your future self is worth more than those imaginary fans and critics. So we're all gonna go out and train again this week, either in the gym or in real life, right? So maybe we can all have a kind of exercise that we're all doing. A few mental reps, so to speak. Maybe start with like identifying one moment each day when you're performing for the idea of someone. And then you pause, you breathe, and you ask, what would I do if I was completely alone? And then you act from that place. And you might actually be shocked at how much peace that might give you and how much more powerful it feels. So thank you for listening to Fight Principles this week. Yeah, the fight you don't show is often the one that shapes you the most. With this, I really appreciate that you stayed until the end of this podcast. For me, this was a very important episode, just to also be very reflective about all the things you talked about. So I hope it at least also had you think along with me. And if you have any thoughts about this, please do leave the comments. I'll check them all. That would be really cool. Or reach out via @FightPrinciples on social media. Until then, stay grounded, stay dangerous. And remember, you don't need to perform to prove your strength. We'll talk next week.
Steel and shadow, fists fly high, breaking through limits, I reach for the sky. Martial instincts power my stride. Fight principles guiding my fight.